dual streaming with Marlonc here, who's played, is it 10,000 Crazyhouse games? Some huge number. 20,000. Okay. So yeah, really a lot of Crazyhouse games. And we're gonna definitely push you over 2,000 soon. Okay, let's go. Let's go. Okay, you always love to do this F4, and I always say this is not recommended for beginners because it does open up F2. Um, it also gives me a nice pawn in hand. So it does create weaknesses around your dark squares, but certainly creative. So whenever you push E3, you often have the bishop coming in. And okay, but I'm going to develop the knight, and the idea is the knight's going to swing to either G4 or E4, and it's targeting F2, and already it's a sort of fairly uncomfortable position. So I'm now threatening a pawn drop on E4, pinning the knight. So you do rightly defend that. And I could drop a pawn on F2 and dislocate the king, but I don't really quite have the follow-up. But what I'll do is, because you've got sort of yeah, so I'm trying to think, do I drop the pawn on E4 or on H3? And E4 would just encourage a bishop trade, which is, I'm going to go for H3. Bishop trade is good because diagonals are good to work into the position, but okay. Just supporting. Yeah, so I'm not planning on attacking. That move is just to defend the bishop. So if the knight ever moves, if you kick the knight with at E5, I can move the knight and the bishop is still defended. So I mean, it allows me to move that knight. It frees up the knight. That's the point of that move. So now, next move, I might go knight E4, for example, and I don't need to worry about rook takes bishop. Yeah, you can only see that in a study. Yeah, I can only see what. So yeah, if we go to a study after this game, I'll be able to see your circles and arrows. Yeah. So in your position here, you can't castle kingside, so you probably want to look to castle queenside, I'm guessing. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So it's a little bit dangerous because of the pawn at A3 ideas and attack on B2. But if you castle queenside and then quite quickly move your king to B1, it's actually okay. So although you're hitting the F7 pawn, what I suspect is you're really targeting E6 here with that move. Or you're going to bring the... Yeah, the bishop covers E6. Right? Yeah, yeah, certainly. Yeah, it is. Yeah, so I think if you ever beat CIW, that definitely makes one's day. um, and he is. Yeah, I've never done that to him. Yes. Okay, so here you're targeting g6, and you also got another pawn in hand, which you could potentially land on f7. Now, because you sacked the pawn, I could just replace the pawn on f7, and then that keeps me very safe, and you're just picking up a pawn on g4. And d7 meanwhile is well covered. So the pawn at g6 is quite yeah. It's because you didn't have an immediate. If the knight was already on e5 and then you went pawn at g6, then it would have been much more dangerous because then you could have immediately say dropped on f7 or gone knight takes g6. So here I think I can just place a pawn on f7 and keep the defense secure. And you're yeah. 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 You've actually got four in fact, because you got the queen as well hiding behind. Yeah. Yeah, or if g7 is undefended. So here g6 g7 is quite a good blockade. So yeah, you wouldn't want to move the queen. So, but you have an opportunity to win a pawn, but it's not that in. But on the flip side, that would open up my h file. So it is double edged, but that is something in the position. Yeah, yeah, I can add time. Don't worry about that. Yeah, because this is just a casual game. For now, we can do a 2-0 series afterwards if you like. But I wanted to start casual just so we could sort of think a bit more deeply and sort of see sort of positional ideas and stuff. So the knight is a great piece to be able to get into the position, but so I don't really want to give it up just yet. I want you to force. So if you go knight takes or rook takes, that's if you go knight takes, at least you're taking a piece out of my face a little bit, and I'm picking up another knight from my knight. So I quite like that. If you go rook takes, well, the rook is a very good defender of your king. So yeah, you have a free pawn here. But whichever piece you take it with, I don't mind so much giving up that pawn, I have to say. But if you don't take it, it's much more serious because f3 then becomes a weakness. So yeah, yeah, at f7 really kept everything quite safe. Okay, so you take the knight. I'll take the knight as well. That's fine. No, you should have taken that knight. That's a free knight. I think even you that really is quite serious. So I'll yeah. You definitely want to take that knight. It's a free piece. It's not a free piece, but meaning I took your piece and you didn't take my piece back. Okay, so okay, wait. Okay, so you're going for a counterattack. Okay, no, actually, sorry. I mean, it's not. The problem is with the counterattack. If you just put your bishop there, I can just put a pawn on defending on d6. Oh, you could have still taken the queen back the next move. Okay, so I was being a bit unfair there because I'd have to defend your attack and then you'd still. So you can do what your original. Sorry, I just thought yeah. Yeah, no, sorry, I miss. Yeah, so you can take it now. Yeah, sorry. Yes, that's yes, indeed. Okay. No, I should have put the bishop on h3. That would have been even maybe a little bit stronger. Um, Putting the bishop on it. Or, well, I'm potentially picking off the rook. Correct. Yeah. So it wouldn't. There's danger I could get in on your back rank. That's all. Just a slight risk. With the rook, I could put the rook on h1, check, and sorry if you take. Sorry, I can't. So the queen's covering that. Okay. So yeah, it's not. Yeah, there's nothing immediate. Okay, so what should we do here? So I'll just put a knight in the center. It's hitting a lot of squares. It's hitting c3 and it's hitting f2. So it stays secure. I could pick up a... Yeah, well I can pick up a dag, and now I've also got c2 under fire. So I take that. So hi there, Alucardimus in the Twitch chat. And he's asking who I'm playing with. I'm playing with Marlonc on Lichess, who uh, I've played many games with already. I think we've played over 100 games on Lichess. And we are talking on Discord, and I should give you the Discord link. So I'll just type that in the Twitch chat. So that's how we're communicating with each other. Oh, yes. I should have taken that knight off, because that was always... Yeah, I should have taken that knight off before it could do that to me. So I'm regretting that now. Because there was always that knight in the position. Okay, so now the problem in here is you have a pawn at e7 idea, which is quite nasty, and you're also attacking my bishop. So suddenly, from having quite a pleasant looking position, I'm like not so happy. And then the problem with pawn at e7 is then another, if queen goes to d7, you could have another knight following up on f6, so forking my king and queen. So it really is quite unpleasant. So what I need to do is I need some kind of bishop or something that could defend d7, but then I can't defend my own bishop. So this is really quite an oversight on my part. What do I do? Okay, knight. Knights are very good pieces. Knights. Hey, I can't move. How weird. Oh, why can't I move? It's not letting me move. I don't know why. So I've played a move on the board, but it's not registering. Okay, so I'll just refresh the screen. This has never happened to me before. This happened to me. I, there we go. I had to refresh the screen, and now it seems to be working fine. It seems like maybe I'm lagging. Yeah. Who is Nanny? Not sure. So hi there, Hercules. So Hercules is Marlonc, by the way, to those watching. Yeah, so this is a very fortunate resource I had to both cover E7 and cover the knight. It's like, phew, because otherwise I was completely losing that. So yeah, if there are two things under attack, try and work out, is there some way of defending both? And I was just very lucky that there was. And that's a nice move because it's both checking but also defending d3. And also just let you know, Marlonc, where we are featured now on. This is the first ever stream I'm featured on Lichess, so very exciting. So I'll just add more time because we had some lag issues. Okay, so in this position, whenever you want to analyze a Crazyhouse position, you should always look like what squares in the opponent position are entry points. And here Marlonc wisely sees that my entry point is d3, so he's doing all he can to defend it. Now I could put a bishop here, but then he would just take. Okay, so I'm going to put a bishop here anyway. And although this creates a weakness on g7, this is preventing him from attacking me while also defending this entry point where I want to enter into his position. So hopefully you can still hear me because I'm not hearing you just now. Good, good. Just making sure it's still there. Okay, because I was having good still. So the internet's still working. Yes. So yeah. Now the thing. Okay. So I could go with the knight. I could go with the pawn. I could go with the bishop. I think I'm going to go with bishop, and the reason for that is he has ideas of the open f file and coming on f7, but this way I'm picking off his bishop on c4 and trying to liquidate it. So if he just moves the queen, I win a free bishop. Okay, so that's interesting, and I have to pay attention. I could either move the rook to d8, just out of harm's way, or slightly more aggressive, move the rook to b8, and hope there's no follow-up. Yeah, so I think there isn't a follow-up there. Ah, the knight. Okay, just my knight was hanging. Okay, I could have just taken that knight, I guess. Okay, so I take the queen, and okay, I need to just. I'm just trying to. My bishop is hanging. So, oh god, your knight was hanging. Sorry, in time pressure, everything is. Just not paying attention. But because I have a knight in hand, you have to always watch out in Crazyhouse for forks. So obviously this is a huge threat in the position. So I take the knight. So knight at c2 is an issue, but you've also got the bishop. So you've got a choice how you want to deal with it. Okay, so you could choose this way. And pawns on the 7th rank are also dangerous in Crazyhouse. So, and also maintaining position. If I ever lose my rook, a rook on the back rank could start to be annoying. I'd have to block up, and he might have pawn drops then. But although he doesn't have any pawns or rooks in hand, so for now it's not a problem. And actually, that knowledge he doesn't have any rook or pawn in hand, it enables me to kind of squeeze him a little bit. Okay, so he's attacking my queen, but that's his last piece. So if I'm being a little bit cheeky, I could potentially just kind of starve him of pieces a little bit here. It's not always a wise thing to do. Oh, yeah, not wise at all. Not wise at all, because I've just walked myself into trouble. So fortunately, I've just got this little avenue to escape the king, but that was definitely not wise at all. No, he doesn't have this because the queen covers. But okay, so I should have enough pieces here to cause trouble. So I'll go here, check. So you could, yeah, now the problem is there is a mate threat. Queen takes c1 is mate threat, and I do still have an avenue of escape for my king. So if I didn't, then say another knight here would be checkmate. Knight on e7 would be checkmate if I didn't have anywhere to run for my king. So I'm very fortunate that it isn't. Yeah, Alicardus says, could I have taken the knight before going bishop e4? Yeah, that's what I was saying. There was a hanging knight, and I absolutely should have taken it. Right, and in any sort of situation, you have to try and think, is my attack faster than his attack? And I've got a mate in one threat, and so it's really difficult. Yeah. So often when the king runs away, it's a good idea to try and seal it off, like if it is possible. So for example, if I could go bishop here, check, and seal off the king and then take the bishop, that's sometimes a better move. But in this situation, I can't see any nice sealing off moves. So I'm going to use the queen itself to do the sealing off, like so. And that's checkmate, because the rook's covering off the b file. So Marlonc says, well played, thanks. So do you want to have a look at analysis board and study the game a little, or you want to go straight to the next? Should we just, let's do sort of a little bit of a study. So because there may be a lot of people watching who are not so familiar with Crazyhouse, and so it'd be good to see some ideas. Okay, so then it's also instructive also for them how to use studies and so on. So you can go press there and go study. I'll just set up a new study and then I'll invite. So new study, and you can retitle the study Games with Marlonc, and it's public so people can actually join us. I can post the link in the Twitch chat. But I don't want cloning, but I don't mind people chatting. And I need to add, that didn't work. Add Marlonc to the study. As a contributor, so you're in, that's good. And I'll just paste the link in the Twitch chat. And you can mate by putting a piece down. Yes, indeed. And just going back to the game, also in analysis board, probably so also just run it through analysis in case something in particular comes up which we miss. Okay, so f4, d4. Yeah, so it does give me a pawn to attack with. d5, knight f3. So in this position, yeah, so you're still solid, isn't it? I'm not sort of breaking through. So I mean, like minus 1. But obviously, you've given up the advantage of. So at h3, the computer quite likes at h3. So you've given up the advantage, of course, as white a little bit here. Your king side's a bit disrupted. I don't just now, but I'm going to turn it on. I'm going to You can show me if Stockfish comes up with interesting things, and I'll turn it on occasionally if I'm curious about a position. So hi there, Nick Halliwell, also in the Twitch chat. So yeah, if you want to point something out that you wanted to show me something, you thought, for example, I was being, I think you can be quite. So this is the thing. I switched what off? The stream is still running, right? Yeah. So it should be all synced up. It's and I can see you in the study. So oh, you're saying the computer's not? Yeah, you've got access to the computer. Do I have Discord on my phone? This is on my computer. And this is Marlon here. All I was saying is that you had Stockfish switched on. So no, I think the mic's okay. So at G6, so it actually quite likes at G6. So this is actually really interesting. I thought at G6 was just wasting a pawn. So this is quite interesting. It does actually quite like at G6, but it prefers say knight to G5 first maybe, and potentially even. So it doesn't like my H5 move at all. So it seems to be the gist of it. Feels that was giving up a lot of potential, and I should just develop. Yeah. So apparently the key for at G6 was to follow up immediately with at F7, and the idea is then the knight swings here with check and picks up G6. So that you can see how that is really, yeah, that is quite a nice little combination, which I completely missed even after you played at G6. This, so I have Stockfish turned on now. So yeah, but now it's saying, so having said it says it likes it, it doesn't want to take on G6, it wants to take on G4. And yeah, so it's still not. It does indeed, yeah, because Crazyhouse is quite a complex game, and yeah, Stockfish might be a fast calculator, but even it gets does seriously misunderstand positions in the first few seconds at least. But anyway, we can see this is quite an interesting line though, regardless of whether it's best or not best. The dropping a pawn at f7 idea, definitely something. So in other words, because here you allow me to fill the gap, and I'm sure it becomes much more difficult to then attack. So yeah, here it's suggesting pawn at e6. So just really just continuing. So it thinks, for example, if I were to take that, then maybe bishop at f7. Yeah, it's really unclear. So it's not. So I'll turn the Stockfish off again. So try and give a human perspective. Okay, so here takes, but okay. But if you notice something, then you can let me know, because because it'll be difficult if I'm streaming and have Stockfish. The computer might complain. Takes. So here, I think I should have taken your knight at some point. But I haven't in the study. But I've run it within the game. No, no. So this is the local. This is the analysis. This is not my. This is the analysis which Lichess does for you on its own computers. So on the study, I'm not running the analysis at the minute, unless yeah. Do you? I feel the analysis. Yeah. So I'll put the link to the game. I'll put the link to the game. Yep. But so was it you who pressed the? Yes, I was the one who pressed request computer analysis on the game, just so that we could quickly, when we were just flipping through the study, we could then just have a look after the game. Was there anything we missed in the game which was quite serious? So so you can see this just knight e5. So just looking at the game now, not at the study, it regards knight e5 as a blunder and going at f7 immediately. It didn't like knight takes g4. Yeah, because remember when I was playing that, I was saying that I quite like the idea of taking, although I'm giving you a pawn, I quite like the idea of giving it because it gets that knight out of my face. And that knight is on my half of the board, and it's quite a threatening piece. Yeah, but the computer analysis isn't run on my computer. When you run a computer analysis, it's run on the Lichess surface. But yes, but it is true. I did also click analysis here, which does cause it to lag a little. Okay, so let's just see what else. Bishop at g3. It prefers bishop at b5 check with covering. At d6, it doesn't like at d6. It thinks I should go straight away on the counterattack with. Well, I mean, it's difficult to say. I mean, so yeah, in this position, it thought I should defend my knight and just ignore the pawn, basically. So I just go for it. And yeah, I think Stockfish often goes for these very aggressive lines, which, as a human, you're not quite sure if this is entirely safe. So you try and stay safe. Yeah. So I'm not even sure. Like in this position, I would probably move the queen, but it's even saying you can actually give up the queen because you have this rook at f1, and that's even mating, incredibly. Pawn at f3, and you're pushing the king into the path of the queen. Sorry, into the path of taking the queen with check, and so this is very serious. So with the knight and queen, can we see the mate? So queen here. Okay, I'm not seeing the mate immediately. Let's see. I'm still not seeing it though. You can play it on the board if you want. Oh no, the knight can take them. Oh. Yeah, and then knight here. Knight here is yeah. Very nice. Okay, that's incredibly nice. Okay, wow. Okay, that's very nice checkmate. Yes. Okay, that's very pretty. So it really wants to go all out, but I kind of just wanted to stay secure. Yeah. So here, obviously, I'm guessing bishop at h3 is better. If just looking at the game, bishop at f5, bishop at h5 it even prefers. Because there are not many squares the queen could go to. I mean, if you just step back, then I guess the knight's coming on f3 and it's looking nasty. Okay, so trying to think. Yeah, and then I complete. Then we ran short on time and we made quite a lot of blunders. I'm trying to think. It was anything else? Yeah, bishop takes c2 was a mistake. I should have taken the knight first. And I kind of realized later, taking the knight first. If you take this way, I'm winning the pawn. So you're probably going to take this way. And then, yeah, so this is still a game. I mean, so then maybe bishop here attacking the rook and attacking c2. Okay, so should we try another game? So can Alucardamus Nor, can you hear Marlonc or not? Because I can hear you, so I can hear you fine when you're talking, but then maybe sometimes just before you start, sometimes it's not picking you up, and then I don't know, I can't hear you. But anyway, so I'm asking the audience, can you hear Marlonc? Because I can hear you fine, but maybe you're cutting out sometimes. And I don't know that you're cutting out, because when you are talking, I can hear you fine. Okay. Well, we'll try one more game and try and see. Yeah. It's very quiet, they say. Okay, that's bad. Because if I put it louder, then my ears will be. Let's see. I can put it louder, but then it'll be very loud for me. Yeah, okay, so I put you louder, so hopefully they can hear you better. So we've got 25 viewers. So this is, and we're going to play the London system. So this is exciting. So knight comes out, bishop comes out to f4. It's a very good, solid opening if you're beginning in Crazyhouse because it avoids a lot of the theory of e4, e5. e4, e5 is very good for white, but it does involve a lot of theory. And d4, knight c3, bishop f4, just getting out your pieces in a very natural way is a good way of avoiding a lot of the theory and getting your king safe. And it stops a lot of the tricks on f7, because in e4, e5, obviously the bishop comes to c4 and c5 and is staring down on the f7 square, which is then a huge weakness. So whereas in this opening, the Italian game, the four knights, indeed. So whereas here, yes. Whereas here the weak squares are c2 and c7 often. So that's why he's already got his bishop out staring at c2. The knight could, in theory, swing to b5, also targeting c7. So I'm going to. So there are two options I could have here as black. I could go to d6 to challenge the bishop, or I could go to b4 and try and. So which should I do? I'll go to d6. Now, just a tip: you don't want to waste time. So okay, so what I normally do in this position is I don't want bishop takes bishop, pawn takes bishop, and a doubling of those f pawns because they're not so strong. The doubled f pawns. Doubled center pawns are really good, but doubled f pawns, I mean they're okay, but not so great. Because the reason it weakens d4 when the e pawn has to take on f4, it weakens d4. So something which I normally do as white in this sort of position. So what some people do is they drop the bishop back to g3, which is fine because then if I ever take that bishop, you have a really solid kingside with pawns on g2 and g3. But it is a little bit of a waste of a move. You already moved your bishop once, you're moving it again. So something else which you can do in this position, instead of bishop d3 is okay, is bishop to b5, check. That's developing a piece with tempo, because then I have to block the check, and then you can go knight to e2. So you couldn't do knight to e2 earlier, because otherwise it would block in your bishop. Now you can do knight to e2, defending that bishop. So if I ever took that bishop, you're very happy, because you're developing your knight to a nice square. So the thing with this move is I can take this bishop and create these double pawns. And just to quickly say, you might think, oh, I can just do the same to you, bishop takes bishop. But it's like the advantage of playing a move first. If I took your bishop, then and you took my bishop, I could actually then, if I just wind back a move here, if you were to take my bishop on f5, I could actually then take your pawn on e3, and you could take back that bishop, but then I take back your bishop, and you've got a little bit of a hole on f2, which is not so nice. So you could say, okay, well, if you take on e3, I'm going to take on e6, which is all very well, but then I take on f2 with check. So because I'm playing it first, so what you've done is the correct thing. You can't sort of do the if I attack you, I'll counterattack you back kind of thing. Okay, so yeah, I'm hearing you loud and clear. You do you take as long as you need to think about your own moves, basically. That's so yeah. So just developing your pieces, it's all good. And also do feel free to make comments. It's like so I brought my knight to e7 to defend. You brought your knight in, and now that knight is swinging into e5 at some point in the future. So that's a very nice square. It's also defending d4, which is, as I said, going to be a slight weakness in your position. So I could castle, or I could just do this move, which is actually quite nice, because it's sort of slightly discouraging your knight from swinging into e4, because it's saying that knight is stuck defending d4. And I should say, because we have quite a lot of viewers on Lichess, a lot of the time on this stream I do commentary of Crazyhouse World Championship matches. It's a very nice move, because it's both defending your weaknesses and it's attacking the weak square g7. And so I just should post the links to the CWC. I mean, this is a link to the blog in general. So if you go to that site, on the top you'll get a guide to Crazyhouse, which has lots of links within it, with recommended places to go about Crazyhouse. The other thing you'll get is all about the 2018 Crazyhouse World Championship, which at the moment is in the candidates phase. Yeah, this is a nice move. Now, you do potentially get the bishop trapped, but that's not actually a bad thing, because my kingside gets... Because if I ever take that bishop, you take back with the pawn, and that pawn is a powerful piece. Or if you sack on f6, yeah, maybe you don't have anything just yet, because there's no like follow-up on g7. But you don't need to be too scared, actually, of that bishop. So actually, in that position, if I were white, I would just castle, and quite happy to leave that bishop on e. You might think I'm losing a bishop for a piece, but you'll be losing a bishop for a wonderful pawn, which will be able to launch a wonderful counterattack. So, Alucardima says, can I play Crazyhouse? Yeah, sure. After this game, I'm happy to play others. Okay. Okay, so what was I saying? I was saying, yeah, normally on this stream I do commentary of Crazyhouse World Championship matches. That's sort of the thing with that is I can take back... If I took back with the pawn, that would destroy my pawn structure, it would weaken d5. I can take back with the knight, and then my pieces are quite nicely eyeing d4. If my king were ever in trouble, remember I've always got this d7, c8, b8 place to run, so I think I'm okay for now. The knight also does a good job of putting an eye on b7. So yeah, he wants to take the knight, which would obviously be quite annoying. And if I protect with the bishop, he could take the knight and then drop a knight on g7 with check, then take the bishop, and then I have this sort of rather unfortunate pawn structure, which I've been trying to avoid the whole time. So what I'm going to do is a slightly subtle move. I'm going to do this. And the idea of this is, I'm not sure if it's good, but the idea is that if he does take the knight, I'm taking back with tempo, I'm taking back with check. So he castles, which is, I think, wise. Now I'm going to do something, very, very cunning. Very, very cunning, and it doesn't work, darn. So if you can add more time, because I'm talking too much, Marlonc. I wanted to do knight takes pawn, as I wanted to explain this. Knight takes pawn, knight takes knight, knight takes knight, queen takes knight, and I wanted to drop a knight on e2 maybe with check, but it doesn't work because the bishop and the knight both cover this key e2 square. So I don't have cunning ideas like this. So what do I have? Okay. I could move the knight, although that creates a weakness on e6. I could castle, but then this bishop is kind of an x-ray staring directly at my king. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the bishop on e4, and that defends the knight, but also means if he takes the knight, I'm taking back with a certain tempo. It's true he can go bishop takes knight, pawn takes, and so on, but I then have a threat. I then have a pawn on e4 which carries a threat. Yeah, so I'm just playing casual 5-5 now. I don't normally play 5-5. I think this is quite good. Okay, so this I would just take. If I took with the pawn, it's kind of messing up my pawn structure, so I think I'll just take with the bishop. Okay, so this is quite nasty because if I take the pawn, you're taking back, and then he has another pawn in hand. He's going to drop the pawn on f6. So I'm going to castle queenside, and he's going to prove to me why castling queenside is a really bad idea. It is true. Whenever I castle queenside, trouble does manifest itself, usually via this square. Having said that, it is playable. Okay, that pawn I'm not too sorry about, because I think that's I think that pawn should have gone to b5 or even a6 at some future point. Okay, in the meantime I've got a pawn and a bishop, but I think I need to defend, which is rather unfortunate. I don't like defending if I can avoid it. I mean, I do like defending, but kind of if you can avoid defending, that's always nice. I don't think I can. I need to take that knight. So now he has a lot of knights in hand, but I want to just go straight in with an attack. So maybe a little risky, but yeah, I think it's okay. So he's used up a lot of diagonals here, but he really wants them over on my king side. Yeah, 5-5 is okay. I said this. 5-5 is absolutely fine. Isn't that what you were asking? Is 5-5 let you play it? Okay, will never tell me if I was okay, okay, so he keeps on hitting me with. Oh, I just walked into a fork. Okay, you have to be super wary. I just walked into that. Okay, that's bad. Okay, so let's see. Do I have a threat? Okay, I'm just going to go with this. So instead of taking back the knight, I'm kind of going straight away with the counter threat. So I'm both hitting the rook and I'm eyeing f3. f3 is the key here, though. So I take the rook. And that's dangerous because... Oh, he's giving away the queen. That's giving away a lot. So now I should have enough for mate. But even if I didn't, he's only got a knight, 2 bishops, and a queen, so I know I'm safe. If the opponent ever has 2 knights and a queen, you know that you could be in trouble. So now I'm just threatening queen here, and queen in the corner, and queen takes rook. I probably had a direct mate, but I didn't see it, and so I was going for more the sort of just try and progress into the opponent position. Rook at g2 was surely forced mate, plus tip, he says. Yeah, I'm trying to think. So in this position, yeah, rook at g2, knight here. Yeah, I'm sure it was. I'm kind of... Okay, I'm going to go with this. So that way I get to take the knight with check. And I kind of want to seal him off, but he's running away. Yeah, so okay, so I'm going to just try and seal him off just a little bit, so like so. So you can't run to e3, and then go here. But I'm not seeing the mate. What's going on? Okay, you better not. I'm afraid I just walked into mate here. Have I walked into mate? He's got no knight, so I think I'm okay. I'm just very lucky that I'm okay because he has no knight. But yeah, this is not demonstration of good quality Crazyhouse. Yeah, so fortunately pawn covers g5, so just using diagonals isn't good enough. I can just take everything. I think I can just take everything. Out of ammo. Yeah, I don't know. Okay, I'll just take this. And because the bishop's sealing off the back rank, I know that that's going to be the rook's going to be enough to mate with. So loads of comments in the chat. Yeah, so we could have a look at the analysis board to see if the quicker way of mating, which I missed. Oh, hi there, Chuck Moulton, Baku's, Plaster Hippie, Beyond Harm, and yeah, I'm going to accept the challenge from Anacardamus. Let's just quickly have a look. What can we learn from this game? So first, was there a neater way of mating in this position with rook at g2, mate in 7, so Plaster Hippie gets kudos points for that. There were other ways, but rook at g2 is actually the fastest. So king h1, rook takes h2, king takes h2, pawn at g3, king takes g3, knight f5. Okay, so then king f2, bishop at e3. Okay, I should be doing this in the study rather than doing this, because otherwise you can't see what I'm doing necessarily. So later on the stream. Okay, pawn at g2. Okay, so what do we learn from this game? For this, so yeah, maybe in this position where you're doubling the pawns, maybe a nice idea is going bishop e5 check is quite what I quite often do, and then here, and then defending the bishop. This sort of idea. It suggests even bishop takes knight, queen takes bishop. Bishop e5 maybe. Okay, I don't know, but some way of avoiding. It is slightly nicer if you can avoid doubling those pawns, but still, this is very even position. So bishop takes f6 is interesting. It's actually maybe the best move in the position. The computer's still thinking. I mean, it's not, but it's something worth bearing in mind in future. It's quite a good tip. Is you don't actually have to. You can actually let that bishop get taken because you'll get such a powerful pawn on e5 that it's worth almost the same as a bishop. So even just castling is actually probably pretty decent in that position. Okay, you're still doing pretty nicely. You put pressure on the knight, which is nice. You castled. It's a nice move. So this is quite good. Okay, and you're kind of undermining my center, dropping pawns, dropping a lot of pawns in the center. Yeah, so one move maybe I was very happy to see was dropping the one side castle queenside, and then you drop the pawn on g5. And in a way, that was a waste. So pawns are the ammunition for starting an attack. Yeah, I'm going to accept your challenge, Alicardamus, but I'm just going to quickly, hopefully, finish looking at this. Okay, I'm like that. By doing that, I lose. I'm taken out of analysis board. So just give me a couple of seconds. I'm just going to play you in a couple of seconds. Yeah. So pawns are like the matches that start an attack. So you really have to. You can use pawns to improve your position, but the last pawn you put on should be the one to light the fire, to light a raging attack against your opponent. You only had one pawn in this position, so it was really important to save that pawn up for b5, a6. So if I was looking at what does the computer suggest here? Yeah, knight to e5, so preparing some kind of attack on the queen side. And you can... Oh, so it quite likes pawn at g5. Just a few moves later. Okay, so I mean... I don't. I'm thinking just drop back. Okay, so pawn at g5 it quite likes, and the reason it likes it is if I drop a pawn at h3, then it likes pawn at g5 because it's a way of closing up that g file, which risks being opened up. So pawn at g5 does serve a defensive purpose, which I wasn't really appreciating when you played it. Knight e5. Look, you played it in too soon, maybe. Yeah. Yeah, just a one move too soon. I mean, it's okay. Then I lost my queen, but I kind of didn't need a queen at that point. I was already had quite a strong attack. Rook at h1 is here a really nasty move because king takes h1, bishop at g2. I'll just play through another mating idea which I didn't see. So king takes h1, and then we'll play another game. Yeah, I'm sorry. I did say I'd play. Is it okay if I play out this others, Marlonc? I mean, I guess I should play more with you another time. Yeah. King takes f1. Knight at d2. Okay, so there's a mating idea here. King here, queen. What's the mate? So I'm not seeing the mate, so I'm just going to cheat and just look at the engine. The idea is if you king takes knight. You have knight at c4 check. Yeah, no, this is a really nice pattern, and I think this is a really so. To get good at Crazyhouse, you really have to start recognizing the mating patterns, and so this is really good for the viewers. If you have a knight and a queen with two diagonal squares between them, notice how the queen blocks off a row and a column, and the knight kind of covers and a diagonal, and the knight covers the two dark squares. And more generally, a knight and a bishop on the same color cover a lot of squares. Yeah, I hit loud and clear, loud and clear. Well, I think this is why I wanted to do this with you, because I think you're a great player and you can get a lot better. And I was hoping, like, by playing some slow games, you can sort of see maybe some of the positional things maybe you're missing, and so hopefully, like in a month or two from now, when we see each other playing again, like you're like above 2,000. And regularly above 2,000, where you should be. You've been above 2,000 before and several times, but yeah, that you're regularly holding that above 2,000 kind of rating. And I think the reason you're not is you sometimes play slightly dodgy openings on purpose for the fun of it, and yeah, and that's fine. But yeah, so it's just there's definite room for, And also just go. I think I told you this privately before. Is you attack real hard, and sometimes you run out of ammo, which is kind of that's very normal. Even the best players do that, especially Buckhouse players. Um, but so sometimes a little bit of like consolidation, making sure your king is safe, and picking up the material before you attack. And maybe that's sort of picking up material before you attack rather than going straight into attack first and then hoping to get the material later. Like the pawn at d6 was Stockfish's favourite move, but normally you'd play a move like that having prepared it a little bit. But of course, the disadvantage is once you prepare it, then the opponent can do something back at you. Yeah, this was really well played. Maybe okay, so maybe when you go to somehow you don't have enough pieces. Why is that? So the pawn at g5. I don't know. It's hard to say exactly where it went wrong in this game. So I'm trying to say in terms of learning lessons. I'd have been thinking of because you needed another pawn somehow. So knight, yeah. So maybe it would be knight at e5, swapping off knights, getting the knight in to attack g7 somehow, getting a pawn on h7, those sorts of ideas. The problem is I had my own attack on via h3, so it's quite tricky position. Okay, so Crazyhouse, yeah, I'll play you next, but I promised Alucardamus a game, and so thanks Marlonc for the games. We'll definitely play again sometime in future. Okay, bye there. Okay, Alucardamus. Okay, so we're gonna try hopefully do some instructive stuff. Okay, so sorry for the delay. Plaster Hippie, yes, I've got quite a lot of challenges. And Oppo in the chat says Plotkin plays with Yasser, which is very exciting. But I promised a couple of people a game, and then I hope to observe Yasser Saruman if he's still playing. So Alucardamus, are you in the house? He is. Okay, so let's have a look. Okay, he's truly a good man. He gives me a few more seconds to live. Anyone else notices that his Crazyhouse rating is his highest? That's how you know I'm. I've been up to 2198, but that was playing. So he says he's not going to listen to me, so he doesn't hear what I'm saying. Okay. Anyone here wants to message me on Nita to be left? Okay. Yeah, sorry. I don't mind you hearing ideas I say because it's supposed to be instructive. Yeah, so Plaster, I'll definitely give you a game after this. So I promised Alucardamus a game or two, and hopefully, and then you can probably teach me a thing or two. Okay. So A3 is a little bit slow. You want to develop your pieces and get them out. So moves like get the bishop out, then play E3, then get this bishop out. So A3 is a little bit slow in developing. So yeah, my plan for the rest of the stream is play Alucardamus, and then play Plaster Hippie, and hope that by the end of that, Little Plotkin is still playing against Grandmaster Yasser Saruman, because we'd love to watch that, wouldn't we? And that's the kind of thing I usually do. I usually don't actually play myself on my stream. I usually watch the great players playing and try to give commentary. And I should just share my YouTube, because I've got about 4 days of commentary on my YouTube on lots of high quality Crazyhouse matches, also some fun Crazyhouse videos. So the problem with this is you're weakening f2. In chess you can play moves like f3 and in Crazyhouse as well, but you have to be really careful because you're creating a weakness on f2. I don't have any pieces to exploit that weakness immediately, but if I get pawns and knights in hand, you could find yourself getting mated very quickly on f2. So he's saying he's playing defensively, but that's not a defensive move. So I got a challenge as well from Baku's. Yeah, I can play Baku's, but if Little Plotkin and Yasser are playing, I might want to spectate them after this game and the next game. Um, okay. Now, yeah. Now, if I ever get a pawn in hand, he has to be a little bit careful, because just imagine if I had my knight, if I just moved my knight to here. Sure, he could take it, but imagine if if I had a knight and I placed it up here and then put a pawn here. Suddenly that queen would be checkmated. That king would be checkmated, rather. So, meaning it makes you consider moves like knight here. Sure, I'd lose it, but then I'd win the bishop. It doesn't quite work, because you could go bishop takes bishop, and I don't have that pawn in hand to start an attack. But so I like this move, e3. Suddenly he's made his position a lot more secure, but he needs to now start developing his pieces. Well, so it is just a friendly match, but let's see. We'll see how things are going. So usually, if the opponent is trying to encourage you, now I'm not. I say h6 is often a questionable move in Crazyhouse, and even in chess, you always have to be careful of h6. So it does give your king a little escape square, but it's always a questionable move because it's a hook on which that pawn is a hook on which the opponent can launch an attack. So you always have to be careful. Now I'm happy to play you a game. By the way, Plasters, just maybe I will just play one game with each. And maybe if they stop, then we'll come back to playing more. So I'm in a kind of position. I'm not quite sure what I should do, so I'll just develop. And I have allowed this, but I guess I could just defend with rook c8. I'm not nothing very exciting happening. Actually, yeah, he has actually done a good job. Like after f3, maybe I couldn't see any way of capitalizing immediately, and now f3 e3, he's actually got quite a safe position until he did this. Now, not so much, because now he's giving me 2 pawns, and I can. So I should say also to beginners of Crazyhouse, a piece is worth about 2 pawns. So swapping a piece for 2 pawns is perfectly normal. A rook is worth roughly the same as a knight and a bishop, and the queen is worth roughly 2 pieces. So. Okay, now if he had a lot of pieces in hand, I'd be very concerned about this move, because he could sack the rook on g7 and start a huge attack. And even here, it is a little bit risky, because he has bishop takes h6. So, yeah, this is something I have to take seriously, because I could go bishop takes pawn, but he has bishop takes h6, and I'd have to block up. I'd have to block up the file. So, and if I don't, if I block up the file now, he has pawn takes bishop. So I'm going to do something slightly, sort of slight counterattack. I want to block up the file, but with tempo. So that way, if he takes my bishop with the pawn or the bishop, at least I'm getting some sort of compensation in return. So yeah, that was quite an interesting move, rook g1. I like that. I didn't want bishop takes h6, so that's why this came about. Now f2 is going to be a weakness he has to watch out for. But I can't hit it immediately. If I just play a bishop, he just blocks on g3. And that pawn is defended by the queen, so there's no problem there. If I go knight here, he could just take it. Takes. I do then have a nice pawn which is in his face. So I'm going to go for this. So the direct threat is bishop at f2. So you could either defend by going pawn at f2, or you could takes, but then I've got a pawn kind of in his camp. Okay, so he doesn't properly defend, and that is bad news. Because I get to pick up a free rook. Yeah, he's not going to lose to a two-move mate, but he's lost material in losing the rook. And then I got now the pawn which I wanted, which is sort of in his camp, sealing off a lot of squares. There's no immediate mate because I've got rook here checked, but the king can step back. So there's no obvious immediate mate, but there is rook here check and knight here. And the point is he has to now sack the queen to avoid the mate. Now we have a threat queen here, checkmate. But I should say in Crazyhouse, I'm not saying in general you shouldn't resign in Crazyhouse, because even if you lose a lot of pieces, if you can get some quick counterattack on your opponent, then okay, so okay, so Alucardamus. Okay, I'm going to invite you. Okay, I should say I'll invite Steady, but I mean, I guess just maybe just look at the stream is the best thing to do. But in future, like when we play a game on stream, if there weren't other people challenging, we should look at it in a study afterwards. So if I was just quickly coming through the game, I thought it was very good. But both these moves, A3 and F3, are wasting time and weakening the position. But actually, having said that, here you're doing absolutely fine. If you just develop your knight, develop your bishop, castle, stay secure, you're actually doing really nicely in this position. I wouldn't even say I'm better. But with this move, suddenly you already have a weakness on F2, and you haven't finished your development, and you're going on an attack. And this is a very nice move you found, rook G1. That was very impressive, because if I do what I wanted to do, which is bishop takes pawn, you're going bishop takes H6, and suddenly you're the one attacking me. So I had to go on a counterattack. So I needed a sharp move there to stay in it. But now, having done that, I've now got threats here. You had to take this knight. But then my pawn advances, and I have F3 is really weak. You'd have to defend F3 maybe with a pawn or a bishop, maybe bishop D2. But yeah, now that if you ignore the opponent's threats, suddenly things do get very, very serious very quickly, because now, yeah, and notice how this pawn advances into your position, and you often see that in Crazyhouse. Pawns can be very powerful. Each time they take, they get closer and cause more trouble. But yeah, good game. F3 is created. F3 is not a waste of time. It's creating an easily exploitable weakness for no good reason, says Adimara. That's true. I mean, the only thing to say in defense of F3 is it's helping control the center, E4. So yeah, no, you did a good job, Alucardamus. I mean, to be honest, there were very nice ideas you had with the rook G1. Yeah. So I would say